However, right here I could go ahead and I think I can go ahead and get away with, yeah, just painting that like that. It's not going to be the best, but you know, whatever. The best thing to do is, you know, to take those photographs at those angles and then go ahead and paint. Okay, but don't worry, you know, you got Photoshop or GIMP, you can go ahead and edit those images. And I think I'll be making another tutorial on how to do that, you know, to optimize, I guess we can call this image, make it look smoother and nicer. Add a bump map to, because right now you know, I zoom in and you can't see any pores, so it doesn't look too real. But I mean, if we zoom out, let me tap into object mode, and let me go ahead and hit texture so that we can see the texture. Okay, and there we go. You know, this nastiness right here, we can fix that very easily in Photoshop, and I'll show you guys how to do that in another tutorial. Let me tap. Nah, I'll leave it like that. What I wanted to do is you know, paint over that, but I won't. Okay, now what we want to do here is we want to save this image, because that's the whole purpose of doing all this, is to save this image, and we're going to save it as a JPEG. We're going to save it on the same folder, and this time, because I've been playing around with it, as you can see, I am going to name this test 5. Just, you know, none of these are called test 5, so I'll remember which one it is. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now if I go ahead and render this, although the texture is there, if I render it, it's not showing up in my render, and the reason is because I haven't added I have to add a material, and I wasn't going to do that to make this tutorial short, but what the heck, let me go ahead and show you guys. You know, we gone this far, might as well go ahead and teach you the next step. And if you leave me a comment, I promise you I'll go ahead and make this much better in editing software, Photoshop. And before I go ahead and add the material and render it and see how it look, let me show you a mesh I did of my my wife. She's my wife, beautiful wife. And let's see, where is she? This is her right here. Wait, come on, where are you? She's hiding from me. By the way, adding these textures right here, they're not mine. I went ahead and downloaded them from YouTube. Sorry, from Google, just messing around. And but you know, I don't want to get in trouble if those images have trademarks. You know, they're not mine. I'm not taking any credit for them. I didn't make them. This is what I did. Okay, let me go ahead and show you real quick, more or less how it'll look. It'll look much smoother. You see how smooth that looks? Looks kind of weird because it doesn't have the eyes. That'll be in another tutorial as well. But as you can see, the skin looks a lot more smoother, and that's because I took it into Photoshop, did some work with it. You can start seeing some pores also as well. Okay, the next one, you see that's by adding a bump map. The hair, it's bad, sorry guys, but usually you wouldn't want to texture the hair. You want to do that as a different mesh and then do something else. But go ahead and zoom in so that you guys could see the bumps, and those bumps are actually faked, they're not real. Oops. That's the end result. Looks pretty nice. This one here is one that I started to play around with it, and then I figured, let me take it into Photoshop to make it look better, and I did. This is one that came out ugly, but that's when I was actually playing around with the bump map. And that one there, my wife is always complaining about her skin. She always wants to have a darker skin. She's very pale, she says. Me personally, I love her skin, but you know, I thought I'd go ahead and paint her darker to see how she looks. And anyhow, okay, that's more or less, as you can see. You know, you can start faking those pores. Just wanted to show you guys real quick. And that's the mesh with the texture only cleaned up. This is the texture with a bump and a specular map. The bump brings up the pores and it brings out the shiny. If I go ahead and select the other one that I went ahead and render for you guys, is texture only, and bump, texture bump. Oh, here we go. This was texture and bump, and this one here is texture, bump, and specular for the shininess. Okay, so you can see the bump map, it just brings out the wrinkles or whatever you want to add. But that's for another tutorial. If you like this, if you like what you see, let me know. Leave me a comment. I'll gladly go ahead and teach you how to do all that. But right now, let me, just like I promised, I'm gonna go ahead and delete the material that's already there. And the material is just a little world one. Don't get confused. It's the one nearest to the last, not this one. That's the world. What is it called? World. Yeah, it's just called world. But you want to go to this one right here, material. A new material. And what you want to do is jump into texture, add a new texture. The type is going to be image or movie. We're going to the coordinates are going to be UV, and we're going. The image is going to be the image that we created, which was test 5. Open it, and there we go. Let me see it as a material or both. Okay, there we go. Now, if I go ahead and render this, hold on, let me go ahead and fix some stuff here. I think, okay, the camera is already facing me, so let me hit 0 to go into camera view. Let me hit the camera by selecting this little dotted line, G to grab it, and there. Okay, what I want to do now is render it, and it's gonna look funny. I knew it was gonna look funny because let me hit 3D view, and the reason it looks like that, and I did that on purpose so that I can then tell you guys what was wrong. So let me just go back into, let me hit 5 to get out of perspective view. Let me hit let me click the mesh, hit tab to go into edit mode. And actually, you don't have to go into edit mode, sorry. The reason why it's rendering like that, it's because the layer has to be front. Let's see, wait. The layer has to be unwrap. The reason why, we go ahead and render it now, it looks nice. Well, mine is that shininess. I'm not sure you how to fix that. The reason why, it's because if you go into object data, and I did a tutorial in Spanish, and I had trouble, and I couldn't explain to those guys really exactly why that was happening until later on. I was playing with it and I figured out why it was happening. So you want to hit the unwrap one, because when you went into the, here, let me show you, into edit mode, when you're unwrapping the UV coordinates from this side right here. Okay, let me just grab them, move them so you could see. Okay, let me undo that, and if I go into front view, it's just projecting that as well. It's projecting this plus the material that I gave it, and that's why it's looking nasty. It looks bad because we have the unwrapped one we did earlier, and if I, on this layer, if I have something else selected other than the unwrapped one, which is this one, it's going to render the material one. And also, I believe, if anybody knows if I'm right or wrong, please tell me, but I believe the reason why it's here, let me go ahead and do that nasty crappy stuff again. Let me select just side view. I'll render it, and it shouldn't render correctly. See, it looks funny again. and that's because we're selecting where we have a material and we have our unwrap here, and it's supposed to, we're supposed to select the layer which is which has the unwrapped mesh with the unwrapped texture on it. So if you don't see it there, just go ahead and delete what you see, and then you'll get it back and select unwrapped or whatever you named it. Go ahead and render it, and it renders back nicely again. Okay, now what you want to do here to take down the shininess, it's either turn off the specularity on the light, which I really don't want to do. I'll just go ahead and go to the materials, and under specular intensity, take it down, and you can see here in the preview it's taking down the intensity, and there you go. Let's render that out again, and it's going to look much better. Okay, let me go ahead and give you a different perspective. Let me 0 to go into camera view, tap out of edit mode, rotate on the z-axis, and let's render again. Okay, I'll go ahead and leave you with this render. I hope you liked this tutorial, enjoyed it, and learned a lot. Again, if you want to take it a step further and you want me to show you how to do it like I did with my wives, please leave me a comment and I'll go ahead and gladly do it for you. Again, please go ahead and visit cgcookie.com. I feel like I owe them a lot because most of the stuff that I learned it from them. I tilt my hat to those guys, and if you want to, if I somehow manage to open the hunger to learn this beautiful application, strong application, and free as a matter of fact, then great. You can go to blender.org to download the latest version, which is 2.54, or you can go to graphical.org. I can't remember if it's graphical.org or graphical.com, and you can download the latest one, the latest build. The reason I say the latest build is because this version here is still in beta. It's workable, but you know, a lot of things, sometimes it crashes when I render and stuff like that, and I'm just glad everything went smooth right now. So I hope you learned a lot. I enjoyed making this tutorial for you. Please go ahead and leave me a comment. If you can make this better than me, please go ahead and show me how, because I also like to learn a lot. And I hope you learned a lot. So thank you very much, guys, and till next time.